when you're discussing really important topics like climate change, I mean, basically the destruction of our planet, you should be getting experts in their field. And of course, 1995's Generation Game TV host Jim Davidson is exactly where you want to go. You know, I was thinking to myself this morning, I haven't visited GBNews for a while. I mean, I just assume that they're still putting out the same quality broadcasting as they always have. You know, as we've come to know and love from a reputable broadcaster like GBNews.
Two men with the musical Midas touch, right said Fred, join me now. Fred, Rich.
Good evening. Hey, Mark. Hi.
There you go. I was in no doubt, because of course any reputable news broadcaster in 2022 is getting on the likes of Right Said Fred to talk about the hot topics of the day. Now, I assume they're still hitting hard those hot topics, you know, things like climate change. We've had the Just Oil protests recently. I'm sure they've been hitting that topic hard.
Should members of the public just physically remove these Just Stop Oil maniacs from the road?
There you go. See, more quality broadcasting from GB News. You know, when you're discussing really important topics like climate change, I mean, basically the destruction of our planet, you should be getting experts in their field. And of course, 1995's Generation Game TV host Jim Davidson is exactly where you want to go for that important expert analysis.
Well, you know, you don't want to go assaulting people. Everyone's got the right to protest, but you've got to look at these people. They're stopping working men from going to work, Dan. And these people don't look as if they've ever worked a day in their life. They're all silly little kids, aren't they? And really old, withered white people with nothing better to do because the bingo halls have all shut.
Bingo! See, of course, I mean, you could get scientists on to talk about climate change. Of course you can. But are they going to give you the same quality expert analysis as Jim Davidson? Scientists aren't going to realise that, of course, the only reason these people are protesting is because the bingo halls are closed. Jim, you still living in 2020? I'm pretty sure that everything's open now. I think the bingo halls are open. Unless the bingo halls are open and everyone's actually realised that bingo's really shit and we're not going to go anymore. But just for the sake of it, I mean, should we go on Just Stop Oil's website? You know, see, I'm not going to doubt Jim Davidson is an expert analysis, but for the sure hell of it, let's just go on the Just Stop Oil website and see why they're protesting.
We're here today to say that enough is enough. And we're demanding that the government issue no new fossil fuel licenses, because we know that any more will catapult us even further towards climate and ecological collapse. We're done marching. We're done writing petitions. We can't wait till the next election. We don't have that time.
So basically, they're just pretty pissed off that the government are further pursuing investment in fossil fuels, in further gas and oil. When we live in a country where we have 38% of our energy is produced from renewables, 25% of that is wind. Why are we just not ramping that up? If we doubled that, we'd be well on our way to the target of 100% renewable energy. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason. I'm sure. Should we check out why the Tories might be pursuing oil and gas over renewables? Oh, of course. Of course, you know, the oil and gas companies, they're investing heavily and donating lots of money to the Tories, aren't they? Of course they are. How could I forget that? I wonder who the instigator for all that is in the Tory party. Who's the instigator for pushing forward further oil and gas investment? It's Jacob Rees-Mogg, isn't it? Of course it is. Of course it's Jacob Rees-Mogg. Now, why would old Moggy Boy, I wonder why Moggy Boy would have interests in gas and oil over renewables? Anyone wonder? Oh, of course. Is Ponzi Toffee Boy Company's Somerset bollocks benefit financially from oil and gas? They've got investments in oil and gas. Of course they have. How could I forget? Should we dive a little bit further into old Moggy, what he's up to? I'm sure he's up to... I'm sure that's the extent of it. He's not got his fingers in any more dodgy shit, has he? Investments in Russian gas, Chinese pharmaceuticals. That's not dodgy at all. That's not, as a member of parliament, that's not going to influence him in any way, is it? That sort of thing, you know, that sort of. Anything else? Anything else? Oh yeah, of course, I forgot. Yeah, Moggy's a little bit partial to a bit of the old deforestation, isn't he? That palm oil that is absolutely the worst thing to happen to the rainforest. Farming for palm oil. Yeah, he's got his fingers in that as well, Moggy, hasn't he? Of course he has. Of course he has. Jacob Rees-Mogg. What about GB News though? Go back to where it started. I mean, why would GB News just want to keep pumping out anti-climate change? Is there any reason for that at all? Guesses? Do you know why? Oh, of course! The chairman of GB News, heavily funded by fossil fuel companies, and is a known climate change denier. I mean, the web of deceit and lies just increases and gets further and further and further the more you bear. I mean, you don't even have to look that hard, do you? Just a little bit of research rather than just watching some poncy TikTok video about how the climate is always changing.
We care about the planet, climate change, climate change, climate change, climate change. The Trojan horse inside of that is we're going to control you. We're going to stop you eating as much meat. We're going to stop you flying around on planes. You're going to have an electric car that we can control and we know exactly where it goes and we can turn it off.
Idiots. But you know what? This coming back to this Just Oil. I mean, mate, I'm 100% behind them. I mean, basically all they're saying is they're getting sick and tired of this government pursuing further destruction of our planet, the planet that we live on, just to line Jacob Rees-Mogg's pockets. You know, I'm 100% behind them, mate. I'm 100% behind them. We need to speak up because I'm sick and tired of not pursuing what this country needs. 100% renewable energies, completely reliant on our energy, not reliant on foreign energy. But we're not going to do that because we need to line Jacob Rees-Mogg's pockets. I'm sure he lost quite a bit of money when those sanctions were brought down on Russia. He's got quite a bit of money invested in Russian banks. We need to help him out, the poor bastard. And you know what, GB News, you're going to have to try a lot harder than Jim Davidson to persuade me otherwise. Because you know what, when it comes to science, I'm going to believe Brian Cox every single day.
This is now a clear global problem. The absolute consensus is that human action is leading to an increase in average temperatures. Absolute consensus. I know you may try to argue with that, but you can't.
No, not mine.
Over 1995, Generation Game TV host Jim Davidson.
Really old, withered white people with nothing better to do because the bingo halls have all shut.
And nothing you say is going to change that. Till next time, take care.